the fluorescent lights of Chicago O'Hare. International Airport hummed overhead as Marcus Thornwell sat alone in Terminal 3, staring at the departure board through bloodshot eyes. At 52, he'd built an empire worth $3 billion, commanded boardrooms across 4 continents, and made decisions that affected thousands of lives daily. Yet tonight, on Christmas Eve, he couldn't command his own legs to carry him to Gate C-14, where his private jet waited. His phone buzzed relentlessly. 17 missed calls from his assistant, 9 from his lawyer, 43 unread emails marked urgent. He'd silenced it an hour ago. For the first time in 30 years, Marcus Thornwell simply didn't care. The airport was oddly quiet for Christmas Eve. Most travelers already at their gates or fighting through security. Marcus had chosen this abandoned seating area near the international terminal, deliberately, far from the cheerful holiday music and families embracing their loved ones. He loosened his Hermes tie and unbuttoned the collar of his custom shirt, feeling the weight of everything he'd lost press against his chest. The divorce papers had been finalized that morning. His daughter hadn't returned his calls in 6 months. His father had passed away 3 weeks ago, and Marcus had been too busy with a merger to attend the funeral. His brother had sent one text. He kept asking for you until the end. Goodbye, Marcus. Excuse me, mister? A small voice pierced through his fog of misery. Marcus looked down to find a little girl, no more than 7 years old, standing before him with enormous brown eyes brimming with tears. Her pink backpack was nearly as big as she was, decorated with cartoon unicorns. One of her shoelaces was untied. Her lower lip trembled as she clutched a worn stuffed elephant to her chest. "Are you lost too, mister?" she asked, her voice wavering. Marcus blinked, caught off guard. In boardrooms, he was never at a loss for words, but this tiny human asking if he was lost struck something deep within him. He started, then stopped. Was he lost? Yes, more lost than he'd ever been in his entire life. The little girl took his pause as confirmation and sat down beside him with a heavy sigh, her legs swinging far above the ground. "It's okay. I'm lost too. We can be lost together." "Where are your parents?" Marcus asked, his CEO instincts kicking in despite himself. He scanned the area, looking for frantic adults. "Mama's in heaven," the girl said matter-of-factly, swinging her legs. "She died last year. That's what Aunt Rosa says. And Papa's in heaven now, too, as of last week." Her eyes welled up again. "Aunt Rosa was taking me to her house in Boston because I'm gonna live with her now. But she went to get coffee, and I saw a puppy. Poster, and followed it, and now I can't find gate. I can't remember the number." Marcus felt his heart crack. This child had lost everything. Yet she'd called him Mister and asked if he needed help. "What's your name?" he asked gently, his voice softer than it had been in years. Emma Rose Chen, I'm 7 and 3/4. She looked at him expectantly. "What's yours?" "Marcus." He didn't add the Thornwell. Didn't mention the CEO title that usually followed his name like a shadow. Right now, to this lost little girl, he was just Marcus. "Are you sad, Marcus?" Emma asked with the brutal honesty only children possess. "You look really, really sad. Sadder than me, even." Marcus opened his mouth to say he was fine, to deflect as he'd done with everyone else in his life, but something about those innocent eyes stopped him. "Yes," he admitted. "I am very sad." Emma nodded solemnly. "Me too. But Mama always said when you're sad, you should help somebody else, and then you'll feel better. So maybe we can help each other not be sad?" Before Marcus could respond, Emma pulled out a slightly crushed granola bar from her backpack. She carefully broke it in half and offered him the larger piece. "Here, you should eat something. Aunt Rosa says adults forget to eat when they're sad." Marcus stared at the offered granola bar, probably worth 30 cents, extended by a child who'd lost her entire world. In his pocket was a platinum credit card with no limit. He could buy this entire airport if he wanted. But this little girl was offering him half of possibly the only food she had, because she thought he needed it. He took it with trembling hands. "Thank you, Emma." They sat in silence for a moment, both chewing their granola bars. Then Marcus stood up. "Come on, let's find your Aunt Rosa." Over the next 20 minutes, Marcus Thornwell transformed. He didn't pull out his phone to have his assistant handle it. He didn't bark orders at airport staff. Instead, he held Emma's small hand in his and walked with her through the terminal. listening as she chattered about her mama's cooking, her father's bedtime stories, and how she was scared. Aunt Rosa wouldn't love her as much because she wasn't Aunt Rosa's real daughter. "I'm sure your Aunt Rosa loves you very much," Marcus found himself saying. "Taking you in, making sure you have a home, that's what love looks like." "Is that what your family does?" Emma asked innocently. Marcus stopped walking. His ex-wife had accused him of loving his company more than his family. His daughter had screamed that he was never there. His brother had said their father died still hoping Marcus would show up. "No," he said honestly. "I forgot to show them love. I forgot what was important." They found an airport customer service desk where a worried-looking woman in her 40s was giving a description to security. "Aunt Rosa." Emma cried out and ran forward. The reunion was tearful and beautiful. Aunt Rosa clutched Emma like she'd never let go, thanking Marcus profusely. But as Marcus turned to leave, Emma grabbed his hand. "Wait, you're still sad." "We didn't fix you yet." Marcus knelt down to her level, his expensive suit wrinkling against the airport floor. "Emma, you did fix me. You reminded me what matters. You shared your food with a stranger when you had so little. You held my hand when you needed someone to hold yours. You're the bravest person I've ever met." Emma threw her arms around his neck. "Promise you'll call your family?" she whispered. "Promise you won't be alone anymore?" Marcus's eyes burned with unshed tears. "I promise." As he watched Emma and her aunt walk toward their gate, Marcus pulled out his phone. 17 missed calls from his assistant. He ignored them all. Instead, he found his daughter's number, the one he'd called dozens of times with no answer. His thumb hovered over it, fear and hope warring in his chest. Then he remembered a little girl who'd lost everything but still offered half, her granola bar to a sad stranger. He pressed call. "Dad?" His daughter's voice was cautious, surprised. "Sweetheart," Marcus's voice broke. "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for missing your graduation, your birthday, every moment that mattered. I thought building an empire was how I showed love, but I was wrong. So wrong. I know I can't fix everything tonight, but I want to try. I'm not getting on my plane. I'm coming to see you instead, if you'll let me." The silence stretched for an eternal moment. Then, "Dad, yes, please come." Marcus closed his eyes, tears finally spilling down his cheeks. "I'll be there in 3 hours. I love you. I should have said it every single day." As he walked toward the ticket counter to book a commercial flight to his daughter's city, Marcus caught his reflection in a window. He looked different somehow, lighter, despite the tears. His phone buzzed with angry emails about the canceled meeting, the abandoned merger, the private jet sitting idle. He silenced it completely this time. A little girl had asked if he was lost, and he'd realized he'd been lost for 30 years, walking further and further from everything that mattered. But tonight, a 7-year-old child who'd suffered more loss than anyone should bear had shown him the way home, not with directions or demands, but with a simple act of sharing half, a granola bar, and asking a stranger if he was okay. Sometimes the smallest hands carry the biggest lessons, and sometimes you have to lose everything to remember what you had all along.